Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. When Paul Tesori was 9 years old, his grandfather had him tag along for a visit to TPC Sawgrass. It was 1980 and the stadium course, which today gleams with acres of green, was still being converted from a swamp. But young Paul couldn't resist taking a few cuts off the dirt into what would become the most iconic par 3 in the game. "All I had was a 6-iron and a 7-iron, Tesori recalled. "I couldn't get it on that green to save my life." As he stood on that same patch of ground nearly 4 decades later, those memories came flooding back. All of those trips to the stadium course with his grandfather, who would spend his twilight years working as a starter across the street at the Ponte Vedra Inn. His mind raced to all the times he'd stood outside the ropes during the players trying to catch a glimpse of his heroes at the tour's flagship event. To the countless hours spent on the far side of the range when he worked for the game's ultimate perfectionist, Vijay Singh. Even to the 2 times he made par on the island green 17th hole after finding the lake with his tee shot. "When we were on the run Friday, when his boss, Webb Simpson, shot 63, I was having the thoughts about my grandfather, about 77 at Sawgrass Country Club, watching Mark Hayes winning. That was the first time I stepped on a course, hitting the 5-iron and 7-iron. In 1980, it was still dirt," remembered Tesori, who went to work for Simpson in 2011. Full field scores from the Players' Championship, articles, photos and videos. It's the players who hit the shots and either endure the consequences or savor the success. Tesori would never allow himself to be lulled into thinking any differently, but for the 46-year-old who grew up in St. Augustine, Florida, and now lives 15 minutes from TPC Sawgrass, Simpson's 4-stroke victory on Sunday stirred emotions that stretched back decades. "This means more to him, no offense, than the US Open," said Tesori's wife, Michelle. "This is where golf became life for him with his grandfather, with his dad. This is home." Webb calls him the mayor. "He can't walk anywhere here without somebody calling to him from outside the ropes." It was no different on Sunday as Simpson set out with a 7-stroke lead. Crowds were comparatively thin, which was not so much an indictment against Simpson so much as it was a testament to Tiger Woods' renewed draw, with the guy in red and black 4 groups ahead. But those who did spend the day with the frontrunner were largely from Tesori's world. His sisters were there, along with an assortment of neighbors and a group of friends Tesori has known since elementary school. All total, Michelle Tesori figured she doled out at least 50 tickets. "Let's go, Paul," a fan yelled as Simpson teed off. It was a common theme throughout the day. Although Simpson has proven himself a world-class player, having won 4 times on the PGA Tour, including the 2012 U.S. Open, it was Ponte Vedra's mayor, Tesori, who was cheered. "I had more people yelling my name out there. I told Webb, man, this is embarrassing," Tesori said with a laugh, following Simpson's final round 73. Tesori estimated he's played the stadium course over 700 times, primarily during his 5.5 years as Singh's caddy. "Those were hard years. Made a ton of money and worked even longer hours," explaining that one year while he was caddying for the Fijian he had a grand total of 5 days off the clock. "We built a house down there, on the Sawgrass range," Tesori joked. It was hard to leave Singh, but Tesori knew it was best for his family, and when Simpson called it was an easy decision. The duo was drawn together by their deep faith and their dedication to family, but they stayed together because Simpson realized Tesori was exactly what he needed. work with somebody every day for 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and you really like them, and you have a friendship outside of golf, I think it's pretty special," Simpson said. "I get lonely because my family is at home, and there's ups and downs of the year for performance. As a friend, he knows me better than just a coworker, so he knows how to handle me if I'm in those bad places. There is no Hall of Fame for caddies, but if there were, Tesori would be a first ballot addition." Sunday's victory at the Players was the 20th of his career as a caddy, and it's impossible not to notice how he makes an impact in the most subtle ways. On Friday, Simpson was on a torrid run, having birdied 6 consecutive holes, starting at number 11, and looked as if he were going to shatter the course record. But he was unsure on the 17th tee. Tesori knew he was between clubs with an unpredictable wind swirling, so he stepped in with the bag, which is the unspoken sign that Simpson needed to rethink his choice. Simpson bounced his tee shot off the bulkhead and into the same pond Tesori had deposited sleeves of golf balls into as a 9-year-old. But the moment still stood as a testament to his ability as a caddy. He made a similar move on Sunday as Simpson walked off the 12th green. "I asked him, 'Hey, bud, you okay?' Tesori said. He was missing his line by too much and just needed to settle down." As Simpson made his way around the front 9 with a host of would-be champions closing in from all sides, including Woods, who moved to within 4 strokes at one point, Michelle Tesori offered an easy smile to navigate the tension. "His heart is just different now than it was in the VJ years," she said. "Webb is so incredible, and they are so transparent about their faith and how much more important that is than golf." Tesori's faith would have remained steadfast and his dedication to his family unchanged regardless of Sunday's outcome, but after more than 700 trips around the stadium course, he had no problem admitting that none were as sweet as Sunday's stroll. Article tags: Paul Tesori, Webb Simpson, 2018 Players Championship, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Xander Schauffele was an unlikely rookie at the Players Championship, but that doesn't make his debut performance any less impressive. Schauffele won twice last year, including the Tour Championship, but had never played a competitive round at TPC Sawgrass before this week. He wasted little time in adjusting to the demands of the stadium course, opening with rounds of 68 to 68 and closing with a 5 under 67 to grab a share of second place, 4 shots behind Webb Simpson. "I felt like it was just a week where things slowly started to click ball striking-wise," Schauffele said. "It was just one of those weeks where I had a bad attitude early and sort of turned it around. It just kind of shows what a good attitude can do, just because I feel like if you talk to my team on Tuesday or Wednesday night, it wasn't looking too pretty." Full field scores from the Players Championship. The Players Championship, articles, photos and videos. Schauffele started the final round 10 shots behind Simpson, but he made a move up the standings with 6 birdies, including 4 over his final 10 holes to post a 14 under total for the week. Schauffele earned Rookie of the Year honors after bursting onto the scene last season, and he notched a T3 finish at the CIMB Classic in Malaysia this fall. But he hadn't cracked the top 10 in 6 starts since a T9 finish at the Genesis Open. He now feels ready to go on a similar tear to the one he experienced last summer. "It's just good golf," Schauffele said. "I feel like I'm just starting to come into whatever form you would call it, and looking forward to some more tournaments." Article tags: Xander Schauffele, 2018 Players Championship, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. With hopes of a third Players title already out of reach, Tiger Woods came up short on the one hole where players have no margin for error at TPC Sawgrass. Woods was coming off a disappointing par on the par 5 16th hole when he tried to muscle a sand wedge to the traditional Sunday pin on the infamous 17th. But the swirling winds that enveloped the island green knocked his ball down a few yards short of dry land. It led to a double bogey, Woods' first on the hole since 2003, that turned a possible top 5 finish into a tie for 11th. I had 127 yards, cover, 133, hole. If it was blowing down off the right, then it's a sand wedge. Woods said, I just happened to get that wrong turn. What are you going to do? I hit a good shot. Full field scores from the Players' Championship, articles, photos and videos. While Woods blamed the fickle conditions, playing partner Jordan Spieth believed he deserved some of the scorn. Spieth rocketed a gap wedge that bounced off the fringe and nearly spun in for Harari's, a sequence of events that he thought may have influenced Woods' strategy right behind him. I think I messed him up a little on 17, Spieth said. He went and looked in my bag, and I had a 52 degree, which is a pretty aggressive play. I had to draw it from the water. And then, he hit one and the wind is going like this, and if he caught this, he's a tap-in birdie. And he caught the opposite direction. It was unlucky there. Woods downplayed the role Spieth's shot may have had on his own thinking, instead opting to emphasize the strengths of his overall game after playing his way from the cut line onto the cusp of the top 10 with rounds of 65 and 69 over the weekend. I got a puff that came back in my face, he said. That's just the way it goes. I hit good shots all day long. Article tags, 2018 The Players' Championship, Tiger Woods, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. As Tiger Woods' summer schedule comes into focus, there remains one tournament he still hopes to add to his rotation. Woods is exempt for each of the next 3 majors, and his lifetime member status for regular PGA Tour events was established more than a decade ago. But those credentials don't help him gain entry into the WGC Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone Country Club, where Woods has won 8 times but hasn't played since withdrawing in 2014. Given the fact that the tournament will shift from Akron to Memphis next year, Woods is officially making it a priority to qualify for Firestone's swan song. There are some big events to play, and one of my goals is to get into Akron one last time before we leave there, Woods said. Full field scores from the Players' Championship, articles, photos and videos. Firestone is one of 3 tour venues where Woods has won 8 times, with Torrey Pines and Bay Hill being the others. His win there in 2013 remains his most recent victory on tour. But in order to qualify for the no-cut event in early August, Woods will need to do one of 2 things: either win a tournament this summer or earn a spot inside the top 50 in the world rankings at one of 2 cutoffs, July 23rd and July 30th. Woods started the year ranked number 656, but after a T11 finish at the Players' Championship he moved from number 92 to number 80 in the latest rankings. He is expected to make the Memorial Tournament his next start and has officially committed to 3 other events prior to those July deadlines: the U.S. Open, the National and the Open. I would like to get there with one more chance at Firestone, Woods said. But I've got to do some work between now and then, hopefully put together one good event. Article tags, Tiger Woods, 2018 Players' Championship, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. For Tiger Woods, gone are the days when second place means disappointment. The win-or-bust mentality got plenty of mileage during Woods' prime, back when he was dusting fields and rewriting the record books one chapter at a time. For every YE Yang or Billy Mayfair. There were dozens of times when Woods was barely challenged, so it often made anything short of the winner's circle feel like a waste of time. Tiger version 5.0, the 42-year-old who continues to turn back the clock in the post-fusion world, has plenty of appreciation for a quality near-miss. After torching the opening half of the stadium course for the second straight day, Woods sputtered down the stretch at the Players' Championship. There are not many ways to sugarcoat playing nose, 14 and 17 and 3 over, given that he had sand wedge in hand on both holes. Two poor swings transformed a potential runner-up into a far less palatable T11 finish, but they did little to dampen Woods' beaming enthusiasm only minutes after finishing his round. "I felt very comfortable with every facet of my game today. Everything felt good," Woods said. "I had control. I was hitting it high, low, right, left, didn't matter what it was. I felt like I had control of it today." Part of that brimming optimism inevitably stems from Woods' tenuous position at the halfway mark. His first two rounds looked much more like the uphill battle he endured last week at Quail Hollow, and for a few brief moments it seemed like he might actually miss the cut. Given that scenario, his promising play this weekend can be viewed as a bonus. But Woods has always taken view of the bigger picture, and that tendency hasn't changed in the most recent iteration of his comeback. And so he looks upon his quest to return to an elite level, to contend regularly and end a 5-year victory drought, as an assembly of various pieces. Full field scores from the Players' Championship. The Players' Championship, articles, photos and videos. The putts didn't drop at Innisbrook. The driver failed him at a critical juncture at Bay Hill. His iron play kept him from contending at the Masters. And so on. Slowly but surely, he continues to thin the list of variables that can derail his game at any given moment. "I mean, he'll win sometime soon enough," said Jordan Spieth, who played the final round alongside Woods. "His game, if I compare it to other guys that are winning golf tournaments that I'm playing with day to day, it's right up there. He's clearly playing some good golf," added Jason Day. "If he got off to a half-decent start, I mean, who knows what would have happened on the weekend. He may have been walking off with a third Players' Championship. And so it is that Woods is able to stomach a back nine backpedal, a seemingly impossible notion a few years ago, and instead focus on the positives as he continues his steady climb. It's weird. Not to really miss-hit a shot today and only shoot 3 under par is just weird, because I played much better than that," Woods said. "I hit the ball better today than I did yesterday, and I obviously didn't end up with the score I needed to." Granted a reprieve from a possible missed cut, Woods took full advantage this weekend amid steamy but favorable conditions on a course that has given him plenty of difficulty in the past. He never got within reach of Webb Simpson, sure, and the fickle breezes circling the infamous island green blew against him. But watch the ease with which he brushed off those shortcomings. Note the beaming smile that emanates when he describes the state of his game after shooting 10 under for the weekend, and know that this was every bit a step in the right direction. Just like Woods needed Innisbrook and Bay Hill to feel the heat of contention, this weekend gave him a glimpse of the ceiling. He was able to wrap his arms around a fickle game and see, even for a short time, what can be accomplished when the pieces come together. It could be weeks, or even months, before they align in place again. He knows this more than most players traipsing around the grounds at TPC Sawgrass. But in a few short months, Woods has managed to trim considerably the number of obstacles in his way. No longer hurt, or battling an uncooperative short game, or a fickle driver, or a backy putter, he has glimpsed the potential of every aspect of his game. It stands to reason that the next time they all decide to converge, he might not be facing a 14-shot deficit. There's no way I would have predicted I would be at this point at the beginning of the year, the way I was just coming back and just trying to get a feel for it and then hopefully have a schedule. Didn't know, Woods said, but now I feel like I've got my playing feels back, and I'm playing tournament golf and I've got it. I'm not that far off from winning golf tournaments. Article tags, 2018 The Players' Championship, Tiger Woods.